I haven't done a video in about a week. It kind of like disappeared. Everyone said, "Damn, Rose, you kind of stream every day with your no life having ass." And so why haven't you stream in about a week? Well, I got to get adjusted to working nights. And when I'm at work at night, can't stream at night. I have to wait till my off days, which are Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But anyways, this is my little tranquil sanctuary and space capsule. All right, this is where we at right now. We in space, bro. That's where we at. We in space right now. We are in space. Time traveling. Told you guys I was gonna start doing space videos, bro. Cause like low key, I'm kind of interested in that shit, bro. Like whenever I'm not, doing my politics videos and whatnot, kind of into these type of videos. So I said, maybe like once a week I'll do like a space video. So I'll probably do them on Wednesdays. I'll call them like Space Video Wednesdays or something, or like Astronomy with Rose, and we'll do like different topics and shit, you know? And, for those of you who are into the solar system and stuff, you're more than welcome to join my channel. And for those who aren't, you're into like the politics or the end of the world type videos or my sports videos that will be coming up next month when football season starts, then you're more than likely to come and join those videos. Now, as far as collabs go, I don't know if I'm going to do collabs in a while. Just depends on how the scheduling goes for everybody. Everybody's schedule is different. And so, with that being said, I'm going to wait till the room fills up. So give me a second, all right, while I get everything ready. Marvin said, time travel with the Earth, man. How interesting this video is going to be. Oh, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. This is going to be an interesting video. People thought I'm probably going to take like a month off from YouTube. I'm like, man, y'all don't love me that much. But I may not be able to do videos like the way I used to at nights, because y'all know I be making videos at nights. I probably won't be able to do that anymore. Not as much, because I work nights now, and I got to get accustomed to that, man. So got to get accustomed to working nights. Most of my life I worked mornings and or afternoon shifts. Anyways, man, I don't know if anybody's live streaming right now. So I just said, fuck it. I'm going to go ahead and kill time right now. Hopefully we can get some people coming in these streams a little later. But I'm just saying, if the Earth dies, let's think about it. If the Earth dies, we got to find somewhere else to live. Like, real talk. A lot of people think I'm crazy when I'm saying this, but we're destroying our planet. And I'm not talking about just from like a, polluting the ozone layer and global warming shit, but I'm talking about like throwing plastics in the water, killing off a lot of our marine life and our animals, and overhunting and this and that, and wars and taxes and destroying the dollar and whatnot. If the earth may become uninhabitable. It could be. Like, it could become uninhabitable. A lot of people don't think about this shit, bro. It may become uninhabitable. So when this shit comes crashing, this is going to affect the entire world. It's not just going to be just here. You guys might want to get on a spaceship with me, and we could bounce the fuck up out of here to another planet, bro. Elon Musk was up to something when he said we need to go to Mars. He's up to something, man. I'm telling you, I think that one day, this planet may be uninhabitable. We may not be able to live here anymore because we're killing this planet, bro. And with that being said, you know, our time may be running out. Now, is this going to happen anytime soon? I mean, who's to say, right? Like, who's to say that the earth is going to end anytime soon? Many people try to predict when the world was going to end. First they said it was in 2000, then they said it was in 2012. Now it's in 2029 with this asteroid belt. Now they're saying in 2030. Now they're saying 2034, which that's what I predict, because I predict that the final mark of the beast, the seven seals, is going to hit once that last eclipse hits, forming that X shape over the Middle East, and I predict that will be the end. So you're looking at 10 years. I predicted the world's going to end in 10 years, and I'm going to stand firm to that prediction, by the way. I believe the world will come to an end in 10 years. Now, does this mean Jesus is going to walk the earth? Who knows? Or does this just mean that something catastrophic is going to happen to this place? Or maybe if it's nothing catastrophic and this planet just becomes inhabitable. Like, it is very possible that these things can happen. Very much so. And, I know that, people have probably been having these talks for a very long time about the world coming to an end and stuff, but never in my life did I think I would pick up any interest in this until recently, when you see all these things going around the world. Maybe it's signs, that this is going to end. Is AI and the kiosk going to take over? Are they going to take us out? Are we going to be out of 80% unemployment, and it's going to force the crime rate to go up, and people are going to start taking each other out and going to war and causing a civil war here in this country? I mean, or globally. Is Russia and the United States going to set all their nukes off? Is that what's going to happen? Are they going to set their nukes off and then we're just all going to die? It doesn't make any sense to get to that point, but is a possibility. That possibility is still there. These are the times where you don't start thinking about this stuff, then you're going to be lost and behind. That's what I believe. That's what I'm saying. I know, like, some people say, I think you're paranoid, or I think like you're like going too far over about this. I mean, like, yeah, you could say that, maybe. But if you look at the way the world is now, what state of mind do you think the world is in now than it was before COVID? I would say that we're living in worse times now. All right, you got the dollar collapsing. It's on the brink of collapsing. You got the large corporations are just taking our jobs overseas. They're not acting in good faith. You see the corruption going on in politics or whatever. And you see all these senseless wars and all this senseless fighting and people dying that shouldn't be dying over this bullshit. You see large homeless encampments that are arising. And this is what you're sort of seeing. It's like a purge almost. Right? The crime rate's gone up. Doesn't feel safe to really go around. Your dollar doesn't really go far anymore. Seriously. Your dollar doesn't go far anymore. And that's scary. These are some scary times we're living in, and I just point that out because it's just, I state the fucking obvious and people look at me like I'm crazy. They just look at me like, well, that's that conspiracy theory talking to you. Right? You're just panicking, not a big deal, blah, 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 not a big deal, blah, blah, blah. So, with that being said, I'm in my capsule right now. We're going to go ahead and travel. So if you guys missed the stream, you're definitely going to have to catch it later. All right. Hold on. All right, let's go ahead. Press play. See, this is my sanctuary. I got my bed. I got my spaceship. So we're traveling, bruh. We're traveling, bruh. We are traveling. No, there's fascinating things about space to learn about. Fascinating things. So time to time I watch videos and say, you know what? Watch videos and learn some things about our solar system. Don't be shy and leave a comment and say, what's good? Even if you get up out of here, it's not a big deal. It is 12 midnight. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are sleeping right now. Probably nobody's going to be up. They're going to say, Mr. Rose, you're wasting your time on this live stream. We want to hear your politics rants. I'm like, well, it's going to get to that. You're going to get more politics out of me. You're going to get more politics out of me. It's just, sometimes it can kind of get a little old with the politics, especially because I want to get into that Olympics scandal. And I'll probably do that for another video. Like I said, this video is not going to be too long. So this is me traveling right now in my little time capsule. Let's go ahead and go over this video real quick. If you guys miss it, you can always go back on my live stream and check it out. Let's see. Let's uplarge it a little bit. All right. Because I'm curious to learn about our solar system, bro.
Hello factors and welcome to this spaced out dude edition of 101 Facts. My name is Sam and today we're exploring somewhere we all live. Yep, that's right, all, including you, Captain America, who lives on the moon. Because we're not just looking at our pale blue dot today, oh no, we're exploring all of the solar system. But which planets are secretly saving our lives all the time? How many rings exactly does Saturn have? And can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? Because I could really use a wish right now. 2 out of 3 of those questions are going to be answered, so prepare to get the DL on RS. Actually, it's best not to initialize that. As we take off into 101 facts about the solar system.
Now, this is a pretty interesting video that was sent to me, so I just said, fuck it, why not just go over it? You know, I haven't watched it yet, but Marvin sent it to me this morning and said this would be a good video to go over. And I said, well, why not, you know? Why not learn about some interesting facts about the solar system? Let's go ahead and get started.
Number 1. So what exactly is the solar system and what does it consist of? Well, according to NASA, who I hear are pretty clued up on such things, our solar system consists of our star, the sun, and all of the things bound to it by gravity, including several planets, moons, asteroids, comets, and meteoroids.
Fair enough.
Number 2. Why is the solar system called the solar system? Well, the word solar comes from the Latin word sol, which means sun, and so everything related to the sun is called solar. And you know,
see, I didn't know that. Solar came from the word sun. I had no idea about that. Wait, let me rewind that real quick, because I didn't know that. Hold on. Give me a second. That I didn't know. Hold on.
Up on such things. Our solar system consists of our star, the sun, and all of the things bound to it by gravity, including several planets, moons, asteroids, comets, and meteoroids. Number 2. Why is the solar system called the solar system? Well, the word solar comes from the Latin word sol, which means sun, and so everything related to the sun is called solar. And you know,
that's amazing. I didn't know the word solar came from the word sun. Did you guys know that shit? That the word solar came from the word sun. I did not know that, bro. I'm already hooked onto this video, and I'm barely a couple of minutes into it. And I'm already, like, hooked up to it, bro.
The sun is at the center. It's only right that we name it after that. Number 3. The solar system is located in an outer spiral arm of our galaxy, the Milky Way.
Okay.
This arm is called the Orion Cygnus Arm, or Orion Bridge, or Orion Spur. It's approximately 3,500 light years across, 1,500 of which is taken up by our solar system. Number 4.
Okay.
The solar system formed around 4.6 billion years ago.
Do y'all believe that shit? A lot of people say that this planet was formed 4.6 billion years ago. But some people say that's bullshit, or that's cap. They say that our planet's maybe like 13,000 years old or something like that. I've seen other like YouTubers talk about this, but according to NASA, they say that based on the carbon data that they receive, would suggest that this planet is 4.6 billion years old, and that allegedly the rumor has it we only got like 2 billion years left of life here. And that sounds like a long time, I know, but theoretically, it's imagine if let's say 2.59999 billion years go by, right? Or there's like let's just say there's like 2 billion years left, so like 1.999 years, and the last like 100 years left, those people have to be alive to see that. That would fucking suck for them, not for us, because we'll be long gone. But for the people living in that time, oh, that's gonna suck.
When a giant interstellar molecular cloud collapsed, R.I.P. King. A molecular cloud, by the way, is basically a big space cloud full of dust and gas, but not the fart kind. It's mostly hydrogen, or H2. Number 5. The cloud most likely collapsed because of a shock wave, which scientists believe was probably caused by a nearby exploding star called a supernova. When the cloud collapsed, it formed a solar nebula, which is basically a big old spinning, swirling disk of material. At least that's what the NASA website says. This is hard. Number 6. This is the theory according to the 18th century scientists Emanuel Swedenborg, Immanuel Kant, and Pierre-Simon Laplace. Of course, the theory has been developed since its inception, but the nebula hypothesis is the most commonly accepted and widely believed explanation for the formation of our star system.
Yeah.
Number 7. So, at the centre of this swirly-whirly disk was a huge gravitational pull, which gained such huge pressure that hydrogen atoms smashed together to form helium, which in turn released a whole lot of energy, and that, motherfuckers, is how our sun was formed.
Wow. So our sun is just a bunch of helium. That I did not know. See, I'm starting to learn.
Number 8. In other parts of the disk, other matter was also smashing together. The larger of these clumps of crap would be big enough for them to have their own gravity, which would shape them into spheres and make them planets and moons. Obviously not everything magically clumped together, and that is why we have asteroids. Number 9. The asteroid belt is roughly between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter, and has loads of remnants of the early solar system floating around there. Other bits and pieces would become asteroids, in case the name wasn't clear, comets, meteoroids, and even tiny irregular moons. Number 10. Obviously being old as Yo Mama at 4.6 billion years old, sorry that was incredibly disrespectful to your mother, who I'm sure is lovely. The solar system has gone through a lot of changes since its formation. Loads of moons have formed from circling disks of gas and dust around their parent planets, and some others are believed to have formed of their own volition before falling into the gravity of their respective planets.
And in the end, there only existed the will to dance.
Number 11. The moon of the Earth, though, is theorized by some to have formed as the result of a giant collision. It doesn't sound very exciting, but bear with me. This theory believes that a collision took place between a very early stage Earth and another planet around the size of Mars called Theia, with the impact resulting in, well, the moon.
Wow. That's interesting.
Number 12.
I didn't know that. So the moon basically was just like, so did it collide with this other planet? From my understanding, or were they both together? That's the question I want to know about the moon.
So at the center of our solar system is the sun. And yes, we know it's massive, but just how massive is it? Well, 99.86% of the entire mass of the solar system is found in the sun. In terms of literal size, though, it's around 1.4 million kilometers in diameter. It would take around 1.3 million Earths to fill it.
Yeah, that's too many. I don't think we could live on the sun, Marvin. That's it's too hot. Look at that crystal ball right there, bro. That shit's on fire. Do you realistically think we're gonna be able to live on that, bro? Shit, I complain when the heat index here is like 70, 80 something degrees. Just imagine how hot the sun's surface is, bro. And that's even before you actually get onto the sun, if you can actually make it. Like if you got a spaceship or something to get on there, yeah, good luck with that. I'm not living on the sun.
Number 13. The sun is hot.
We know that.
No, I'm kidding. The surface of the sun actually isn't as hot as its atmosphere. The surface measures around 6,000 Kelvin, or 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The atmosphere, though, scorches at 100,000 Kelvin, which is the equivalent to around 180,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Number 14. Surprisingly, this isn't the hottest it gets, though. The outermost layer of the sun is called the corona. Oh god, I'm having flashbacks.
Oh man, why y'all gotta bring Corona
It's
up?
barely visible because of the brightness of the surface, but it's the bit you can see around the moon during a solar eclipse. Here, temperatures can reach around 1,000,000 Kelvin.
Yeah, Marvin, you really think we're gonna be able to live on the sun, bro? Look at that shit. There's no way we'd be able to land on that planet, bro. We would burn up before we even got to that planet. And even if we did find a ship or something that was gonna put us there, let's say hypothetically there was a ship that could withstand the heat, would you really want to live on that shit? I wouldn't. So I'm gonna pass on the sun, bro.
Jennifer Lawrence is hotter. Number 15. These extreme temperatures allow particles to move faster in the corona, and they go so fast that they're able to escape the sun's gravity. Once escaped, these particles make up the solar wind.
Yeah.
Number 16. The solar system is made up of 4 terrestrial planets, 4 giant planets, and the dwarf planet Pluto. I said it wrong.
Pluto.
4 terrestrials are Mercury, Venus, Earth, woo, represent, and Mars. And the 4 giant planets are Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Number 17. There are also 2 categories of giant planets. Jupiter and Saturn are both gas planets, so named because they're mostly composed of hydrogen and helium. And Uranus and Neptune are ice giants, because they're made up of heavier chemical compounds like water, ammonia, and methane.
Okay, so we could probably live on Neptune then, or Uranus. And seeing as Jupiter and Saturn are both what? They're gas planets. I highly doubt we'd be able to live on those 2. So we'd have to cross out Saturn and Jupiter.
Science. Number 18. The gas giants are also sometimes known as failed stars, which sounds harsh, but there you go, that's just life. This is
Look, that's one of Saturn's moons right there. Doesn't it? It looks like it's snowing. Like there's ice capsules or water on it.
because they contain hydrogen and helium, the same basic elements as a star, like our sun.
Yes.
Number 19. Closest to the sun is the planet Mercury, not to be confused with the chemical element or Freddy. Named after the Roman god of money and delivering messages, Mercury is also the smallest of all the main planets in the solar system, being only slightly larger than Earth's moon. Don't come at me, Pluto stands. We're not getting into that. Number 20. A year on Mercury is only 88 days.
What's up,
The
King
planet turns
Twister?
itself around the
Wow, 88 days. Hey, King Twister, what's going on?
planet Mercury, not to be confused with the chemical element or Freddy. Named after the Roman god of money and delivering messages, Mercury is also the smallest of all the main planets in the solar system, being only slightly larger than Earth's moon. Don't come at me, Pluto stands. We're not getting into that. Number 20. A year on Mercury is only 88 days.
So, a year on Mercury is only 88 days, bro. Imagine your birthday, bro, is every 88 days, King Twister.
The planet hurtles itself around the sun at almost 112,000 kilometers an hour, the fastest of any of our planets. This orbit is elliptical too, so its distance from the sun can vary anywhere between 29 million and 43 million miles, depending on its place in orbit. To put that in perspective for you, the Earth has a difference of around 3 million miles at its closest and furthest points to the sun.
I'm doing all right, bro. Just working nights, trying to get used to the nights and, you know, just enjoying my off days. I'm still going to bed, like, at night. Even though when I work there, I have to, you know, work from 10 to 6 at night and then come home and sleep till fucking 1. That's something I have to get used to. I have to get used to that shit, bro.
Number 21. Despite Mercury being the smallest planet in our solar system, it's actually getting even smaller. This is because the planet's iron core cools, which causes it to shrink, and because Mercury has a single continental plate that covers the entire planet, the shrinkage causes huge cliffs and valleys.
Oh, that looks beautiful. Look at this on Mercury. That's the surface of Mercury right there, bro. Look at that, King Twister. Don't that look badass? It almost kind of gives you the look of like what it would look like on Mars or what it would look like on Earth. Imagine if we could live on Mercury, even though technically Mercury's the closest to the sun. So their temperatures there would probably be extremely hot. So we probably wouldn't be able to live there.
Number 22. Ooh. Mercury also has the biggest fluctuations in temperature of any planet
Okay.
too. Being the closest planet to the sun, it makes sense that it can reach 840 degrees Fahrenheit or 450 degrees Celsius. But
840 degrees, you see what I'm saying? That's max temperature. We wouldn't be able to do it.
because Mercury doesn't have a substantial enough atmosphere to trap heat, temperatures can plummet to minus 275 degrees Fahrenheit
Yeah.
or minus 170
Minus 275.
degrees Celsius. Number 23.
Too cold.
Mercury doesn't have any moons. That's it. That's the fact. Okay, fine. An extra one because you've been good. Venus also doesn't have any moons.
So Venus and Mercury have no moons. I thought that every planet had a moon. Maybe I'm wrong, but I always thought that every planet had a moon. Maybe it's been a while since I got into this shit.
Number 24. Speaking of Venus, it's named after the Roman goddess of love and beauty, and is the brightest natural object in the night sky on Earth, apart from our moon, of course. It's so bright that on rare occasions it can even be visible to the naked eye in broad daylight. Have a look now, see if you can see it. Did you see it? Ah.
I've never seen Venus with the naked eye. I used to have a telescope when I was a kid. When I was in 5th grade, my mom bought me one. And I should have, you know what? I need to invest in a telescope, bro, so I can see these planets. That's what I need to do. Welcome to the 3 people in here. Finally, I get some traffic. Finally, god damn it. I need to get a telescope. That's what I need to invest in. I need to invest in a telescope, you know, a really good one. Does any astronomers out there know a really good telescope that I can get? Because I'm not like, you know, very, what's the word I want to use? Like knowledgeable when it comes to the types of telescopes. I want to get something decent. I don't mind paying a little bit for it, but I want to get something, you know, that's going to allow me to like magnify and see all types of stuff outside the solar system. I don't want to just get like a cheap telescope where I could barely see anything. So like, I don't mind investing in it. You know what I mean?
Number 25. It's so bright, in fact, that in 2012, an Air Canada pilot mistook the bright AF planet for another aircraft. The pilot then sent her plane diving 400 feet towards the Atlantic Ocean to avoid a collision. Luckily, Venus was still millions of miles away, and no one was too badly hurt. Number 26. Venus is the only planet in our solar system that spins clockwise on its axis.
That's interesting. I never knew that about Venus.
Though it does still orbit the Sun in an anti-clockwise direction. Other planets in the system both rotate and orbit anti-clockwise, but trying to focus on that genuinely makes me feel a bit dizzy, so let's move on. Number 27. It also spins really slowly. The slowest in the solar system, in fact. The Earth has a full rotation in around 24 hours, which is what makes a day. On Venus, a single day or planet rotation is 243 days worth of Earth day.
Holy shit. So you mean to tell me for Venus to rotate in a full swing, it takes 243 Earth days, bro? Did y'all not hear that shit? That means like your whole day is basically like almost the entire year. Like same temperature, same shit. For it to revolve, for it to go around the sun.
Number 28. A day on Venus is also longer than a year on Venus. Let me explain. It takes 225 Earth days for Venus to orbit the Sun, but 243 Earth days to do a full axis spin. So on Venus, a day is actually longer than an entire year. In other words, it's how long every day's felt since March 2020. Long
Interesting.
Pandemic joke. You get it. Number 29. There's a good reason Venus spins differently, though. The planet is technically upside down. Not like Australia, no. Astronomers believe that at some point in the solar system's 3.5 billion years, something collided with Venus so hard that it knocked it completely out of its original position and flipped it upside down.
Whoa.
Number 30. Despite being further away from the Sun than Mercury, Venus is the hottest planet in our solar system, reaching around 880 degrees Fahrenheit or 471 degrees Celsius.
So check this out. Mercury is closer to the Sun than Venus. So you would think that Mercury would be hotter than Venus, right? Because it's closer to the Sun. They're saying that Venus is actually the hottest planet. That's fascinating. I never knew that. These are things that I'm just learning. This is a good video you sent me, Marvin, by the way. I appreciate it.
Yes. It's also got an extremely hostile atmosphere, mostly made up of carbon dioxide and clouds of sulfuric acid. So it's hotter than hell and made of farts. Nice. Number 31. There are at least 1,600 volcanoes on Venus. There are probably far more, but they're just too small to be seen from Earth. Scientists believe that most of these volcanoes are dormant, though. Number 32. Venus is sometimes referred to as Earth's twin. This is because the two planets are almost identical in size, have a very close orbit distance from the Sun, and have thick, cloudy atmospheres. You might be thinking, hey, let's move to Venus, but that sulfuric acid I just mentioned is extremely poisonous, so maybe not. Number 33.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to live on Venus or Mercury, so you got to cross Venus, Mercury, Saturn, Jupiter off.
Venus is very windy, and I'm not talking about those gases either. Winds in the clouds of Venus have been recorded at reaching 360 to 70 kilometers per hour, depending on sources. In fact, at their fastest points, these winds are faster than the speed of Venus's actual rotation. Number 34. Earth is the third planet from our sun. We actually did a whole video about it, which you should definitely watch after this one, so I won't talk about it too much, but as far as we're aware, Earth is the only planet in our solar system that harbours and supports life.
Yep.
Number 35. If you glance up at the sky at night, I'm sure you'll have noticed there's a big cheesy looking rock floating around up there.
The moon.
That's our moon, and it's not made of cheese, sadly. It's our only natural satellite here on Earth, and it takes 27 days to orbit us.
What?
Number 36.
What I don't get is why don't we send people back to the moon? Like, if they did that during the JFK, right, and they sent those astronauts back in 1969 to travel to the moon, how come we haven't been back to the moon? Like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. It's technically, the distance between the moon and the Earth is what? 4 days? So if the distance is 4 days, and we got the spaceships, the technology, the equipment to get there, why haven't we gone back? Like, it would be fascinating if we did that. We should go back to the moon. Like, I don't see why we haven't. It's 2024. Why haven't we got a team back to the moon? I don't know. It's crazy, but...
The moon's orbit around the Earth makes up a lunar cycle, or lunations. And during this time, the moon varies in visibility depending on how much of its surface is illuminated by the sun.
Yeah,
These
Caitlin.
result in the lunar phases that we see, which in return resulted in Jaffa Cakes bringing us one of the most iconic adverts of all time. Oh, and Dawn French. Number 37. Mars is the fourth planet in our solar system, and luckily for you, there are 100 more facts about it in another awesome video we've done. Again, after this one, watch please, but we'll go through some rapid fire stuff here. It's also known as the Red Planet because of the rust colour of its iron-rich minerals that cover the planet's surface. Number 38. Tina Turner was likely singing about Mars in her 1966 hit song River Deep Mountain High, because
Wow.
Mars is home to Olympus Mons, a 17-mile high mountain and the highest mountain in the solar system.
Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that song that Tina Turner sung was about the highest mountain on Mars? Bet y'all didn't know that, because I didn't.
As well as the Valles Marineris, which descends 6 miles deep, making it the deepest valley in the solar system.
Whoa.
Number 39. Between Mars and our next planet, there's a big old asteroid belt. No points for guessing that's a belt made of asteroids, but what you might not know is that the mass of the belt is made up of 4 objects, not hundreds of thousands of asteroids. Number 4. T. These 4 beings are the dwarf planet Ceres, and the 3 massive asteroids called Vesta, Pallas, and Hygeia. At 940 kilometers in diameter, Ceres is the only one large enough to qualify as dwarf planet, as it's been rounded by its own gravity. It's also the only dwarf planet inside of Neptune's orbit. Number 41. Jupiter is the first of the outer planets, or giant planets, and boy does it earn the name giant. To put it in perspective for you, according to NASA, if the Earth was the size of a nickel, which is flat, weird of NASA to say, Jupiter would be the size of a basketball. The meaning of life. It's probably not surprised that Jupiter is in fact the biggest planet, well, biggest anything indeed, in our solar system. It's so big in fact that it's 2.5 times bigger than all the other planets.
God damn!
combined.
Guys, look at the size of Jupiter compared to Earth. Look at us. This is us. And look at this. Look at Jupiter and Saturn. They would just fucking smash us if our planet ever was to collide with Jupiter. Just imagine if the Earth, like, collided with Jupiter, bro. Crazy, huh?
Number 43. Interestingly though, if Jupiter used to get any bigger, it actually gets smaller. Confusing, right? Oh, my voice went. Confusing. Well, if Jupiter gains any additional mass, it'll become more dense, which means it would start pulling in on itself because of the strength of the gravity.
Yeah, so they're saying that if Jupiter gets any bigger, it'll actually get smaller because of its density. So if Jupiter expands, it'll actually decrease in size. Fascinating, huh?
Number 44. Jupiter is a gas giant, and they're not kidding when they say gas. The planet does actually have a firm surface to land on like...
You know what they say this is right here? Y'all ever heard of the red giant, or I think it's the red eye that's on Jupiter? Y'all ever see that eyeball that's on Jupiter? They say that eyeball is a continuous hurricane. It's just like a big giant dust storm. And that it just never ends. It just stays in that spot. So just imagine like a giant hurricane that just never went away. and it just keeps spinning and spinning and spinning, and it doesn't really travel anywhere else around the planet or planet, if they call it, and it just stays in that spinning motion right there. It's spinning cycle just the entire time. It like never moves. Imagine that.
Earth does. It's almost entirely hydrogen, then a bit of helium and a few trace amounts of other gases, all in layers, like onions. Number 45. So how do we define what the surface of Jupiter is if there's not a literal surface? Well, the sciencey folk define the surface as the point in the gas layers where the atmospheric pressure is the same as that on Earth. When reaching that point on or in Jupiter, the gravitational pull is almost 2.5 times stronger than Earth. Number 46. Because of all these gas layers, scientists have never been able to work out what is at the core of Jupiter. It could well be solid, eventually. It's theorized that it could be a dense molten liquid core or just solid rock that's surrounded by a layer of metallic hydrogen. But that's just a theory. A space theory. Number 47. Sounds nothing like him. Jupiter has sometimes been referred to as a failed star, but that's not quite accurate. Yes, it's massive, and it has an abundance of hydrogen and helium like our Sun. Jupiter just doesn't have enough mass to trigger the fusion reaction that would make it a star. Probably a good thing for us, though. Earth doesn't need any more heat, thanks.
Right?
Number 48. A day on Jupiter is just around 10 hours long, the fastest of any planet in the solar system. A year on Jupiter, on the other hand, is the equivalent to 12 Earth years. Because of...
Wait. So it only takes 10 hours to make a day in Jupiter. But the spin around the sun is how long? Let's see. Hold on real quick. Let me rewind that again.
A day on Jupiter is just around 10 hours long, the fastest of any planet in the solar system. A year on Jupiter, on the other hand, is the equivalent to 12 Earth years.
12 years.
Because it has quite a slow orbit around the sun, probably because it's massive. Number 49.
Whoa.
Like Venus, Jupiter can rarely be seen by the naked eye in the night sky. It's the fourth brightest object in the solar system when observing from Earth, after our Moon, Venus, and of course, the Sun. I hear that's quite bright.
Yeah.
Number 50. Jupiter has 79 moons, which is just greedy, isn't it? And
79 moons that Jupiter has. Bro, I didn't know they had that many. I thought they only had like maybe like 13 or 14 moons. How the fuck did they get 79?
The natural satellites in its orbit. The four major moons are Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Castillo. Ganymede is actually the largest moon in the entire solar system at 5,262 kilometers in diameter.
Yeah.
It's even bigger than Mercury. Number 51. Jupiter also has a very thin ring system. It's quite faint and can be difficult to see, and is made mostly of dust. Thrilling stuff. There are 4 parts to these rings of varying thickness and thickness. The smallest is the halo, then the main ring, and then the 2 wider and thicker rings called the gossamer rings. Number 52. The halo and main ring are mostly bits of dust from Jupiter's moons Metis and Adrastea, as well as some other dusty bits. The halo ring is a neutral blue colour, whereas the other 3 are all variations of a reddish. Number 53. About 22 degrees south of the equator of Jupiter, there's the Great Red Spot.
Yep.
It's alright, Jupe, we will have breakouts. I'm kidding, this spot is actually a huge storm that's been swirling around for at least 2 centuries now. That's when it was discovered, but it could have been going for ages longer. Number 54. The spot spins anti-clockwise and takes 6 entire days to rotate completely. That's right, by the time the storm has spun once, we've spun 6 times. Oh, and also, no one's really sure why the spot is red. It just is. Moving on. Number 55. The next planet from the Sun is Saturn. It's the second largest planet in our solar system after that behemoth Jupiter, and it's roughly 9.5 times the size of the Earth. Number 56. Despite being that massive, Saturn is the least dense of all the planets in the solar system. Like Jupiter, it's mostly made of hydrogen and helium, but Saturn is way less dense. In fact, on average, it's less dense than water. Number 57. There is a myth that because of its small density, if you put Saturn in a massive planet-sized bath, it would float as water has a higher density. While that is technically true, it doesn't take into account the outer atmospheric layers that would just dissolve, and then the inner denser parts would sink.
Wow.
That's the best way I can describe this without a science degree. Number 58. Saturn is probably best known, though, like Beyonce, for having rings on it. What? But what causes the rings? Well, unlike Beyonce, not a fiancé. That rhymes.
Yeah, if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it.
In the case of Saturn, it's just a lot of super fast wind in its upper atmosphere. The song probably wouldn't be as catchy. Number 59. That super fast wind can actually reach up to 1,800 kilometers per hour around the equator.
Whoa.
Number 60. The biggest of Saturn's rings is called the Phoebe ring, so named because it follows the orbit of Phoebe, one of Saturn's moons, and is almost 7,000 times bigger than Saturn itself. The ring...
Interesting.
wasn't actually even discovered until 2009, and is actually big enough to hold 1 billion planet Earths, according to NASA.
Whoa.
Number 61.
Yeah, put a ring on it then, Caitlin. If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. Well, at least Saturn got its ring.
You're probably wondering why no one noticed this giant ring earlier than 2009, and that's because it's so sparsely populated and the particles and dust that make up the ring are so far apart, it can be difficult to see. It's also not helped by the fact that Saturn doesn't really reflect much light, so something that far away would be even harder to see. It was only made visible with infrared light and heat radiation from objects in the ring. Number 62. The Phoebe ring, as well as Saturn's many other rings, are made of billions upon billions of particles of ice and rock, which can be from small as a grain of salt to as big as a house. These particles are believed to be leftover debris from comets, asteroids, and obliterated moons. There's even suggestions that remnants of former dwarf planets might also make up some of the rings. Number 63. The smaller and more visible of Saturn's rings were primarily named alphabetically, in the order in which they were discovered. So in order from the closest going outwards, the rings are D, C, B, A, F, the Janus ring, G, the Methone ring arc, the Anthe ring arc, the Pallene ring, and finally the Phoebe ring. Nintendo 64. The reason there are multiple rings instead of just one big one is because the gravitational pull of some of Saturn's moons pull the particles into their orbit path, leaving gaps between them. These moons are referred to as shepherd moons as they keep the rings in their orbits. At least that's my...
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. Take a look at the help section in your Alexa app.
Right.
At least that's my understanding of it while not being a scientist. So, science folk, correct me in the comments if you like, but be nice, okay? Number 65. The F ring is also cool because it's made up of several narrower rings, which have some kinks and lumps in them, which make them look braided in appearance. This is believed to have been caused, at least in part, by impacts from various asteroids and comets. Number 66. The origins of Saturn's rings are still a hotly debated topic, with many believing that they've existed basically as long as the planet has. But more recently, the argument that they're a newer addition has been gaining popularity. Some believe that they could be as young as 100 million years old, which makes them as young as, or maybe even younger than, Earth's dinosaurs.
Wow.
I did a video on those guys actually, but I digress. Number 67. Despite being smaller than Jupiter, Saturn has a whopping 82 moons in its orbit, beating Jupiter's measly 79.
Wait a minute. They got how many? Saturn's got 82 moons that go around it, bro. But yet the Earth can only have one. Like, make it make sense, bro. We can only have one. But every damn planet gets like 50. At least. Right? Are you guys a little jealous? Because I am. Imagine if like we had like 8 or 9 moons, bro. Haley, facts. Imagine though. Just imagine if they like with the Earth, for example, like imagine, we have one moon and it's like, okay, sometimes you get like a full moon or half moon. I like the one where the moon shows red. Even though people believe that there's blood on the moon, or they'll say, oh, there's blood on the moon, blah, blah, blah. I like when the moon is red, but I hate, it's like, how is it that Saturn gets 82 moons and Jupiter gets 79 and we only get one? Like, just one. Like, it's crazy. Like, if you think about it, like, we only get one moon. It's like, what's up with that? If only we had the technology that could take us to these places, it would be fascinating. Like, if we had the spaceships and all that to get there, and we could get there faster and in time. It's like, let's say the moon, for example, is 4 days. We can get to the moon in 4 days. Why we can't send another man on the moon is insane, right? So how is it that we can't send a man on a moon and it's only 4 days? Mars is 4 months. So realistically, we can get to Mars. We can get to the moon. We can definitely get to the moon. Mars, 4-month journey there, 4-month journey home. You're probably going to stay for 2 years. So you're probably looking at a 3-year trip to Mars. Like, it would take 3 years, probably, like, to get there, to get back, and to stay there, and to collect data or whatnot. you would have to definitely have some volunteers for that one, and you would have to have people be heavily compensated for that trip, because that's you know, the moon is 4 days. So if you get to the moon in 4 days and you can get there, that'll probably be 2 weeks stay and then 4 days home. So 3 weeks for a trip to the moon and to be on the planet studying and all that. 8 of those days is just, you know, it's travel. So, okay, so a week out of the 3 is travel. The other 2 weeks is collecting data and stuff. We could definitely do that for the moon. Absolutely, we can do that for the moon. But why we haven't done that yet remains to be seen. It's like one of those mysteries. Haley said a blood moon. Yeah, it could be the blood moon. Yeah. Blood moon, blood moon. Let's go ahead and get back to this video. Enough with my ugly face. Let's go. Look at that. Look at those moons on Saturn. Look at that shit. Boom, 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 boom. All around. I'm jelly.
53 of those have been confirmed, but the other 29 are still awaiting confirmation of discovery and thus naming. I hear the name Sam is pretty good.
Mate.
Earth's dinosaurs. We did a video on those guys actually, but I digress. Number 67. Despite being smaller than Jupiter, Saturn has a whopping 82 moons in its orbit, beating Jupiter's measly 79. To be fair, 53 of those have been confirmed, but the other 29 are still awaiting confirmation of discovery and thus naming. I hear the name Sam is pretty good for a moon? Or 101 facts? Yeah, not as catchy, is it? Number 68. Saturn's largest moon is called Titan, and is actually slightly bigger than the planet Mercury. It's also the second largest moon in the entire solar system.
Isn't it crazy that some of these moons that orbit some of these planets are bigger than some of the other planets that we have? Which would then say, well, then how come they're not named their own planet? Well, technically they couldn't because they're orbiting the planet, but I don't know. It's just you got moons that are bigger than the planets. It's crazy, isn't it?
Behind Jupiter's Ganymede. Number 69. That's where Thanos is from. Titan is the only moon in the solar system that has a dense atmosphere, similar to that of a planet. It even has clouds. According to Space.com, scientists reckon that Titan is possibly the most Earth-like object that's been found to date. Just obviously Earth is a bit warmer, being closer to that big old sun of ours. Number 70. It's also the only other place within the solar system that we know has stable liquids on its surface. It has lakes, seas, rivers, and even rains there.
Whoa!
Methane. It also has sand dunes that are made of hydrocarbon, but definitely share similar characteristics as sand dunes that we have in the Namibian desert in Africa.
No way. No way. So you're telling me that this moon, I think it's called Titan, right? Titus or Titan? Maybe we could harvest life there. If they got sand dunes and they got water and they got rainfall, maybe we could be on one of those moons. I can just imagine the travel time it would take to get there. Probably take a long time. Do you 3 people that are watching agree with me? Because I think so. It'd take a long time.
Number 71. Again, we probably won't be making the move to Titan anytime soon, as its atmosphere is mostly made of nitrogen and methane.
Oh,
there
man.
is, however, a presence of organic
Oh, that sucks.
molecules that contain carbon and hydrogen, including oxygen, so not all is lost. Number 72. There aren't enough facts. Number 73. There aren't enough facts to talk about all of Saturn's moons, but here's an overview of the coolest ones. Pan and Atlas aren't round like typical moons. They're actually shaped like a flying saucer. Number 73.
Whoa.
The moon Enceladus apparently shows evidence of ice volcanoes, which is already badass, but it also has 101 geysers on its southern pole. There's also a moon called Iapetus, which has one side that's bright white, and the other is black as coal, and no one really knows why. Number 74. It's thought that the pull of Saturn's huge gravity might have been one of the catalysts that pushed Neptune and Uranus further out of the solar system. It's also believed to have been partners in crime alongside Jupiter to throw out a lot of debris our way in the earlier days of the system.
Right?
Number 75. Don't hate them too much though, because as well as slinging a load of rubbish towards us in the early days, it's now believed that Saturn, even more so than Jupiter, actually steers big asteroids away from Earth and to the other inner planets.
Wow.
Thanks, Saturn. Number 76. Much like Saturn, the next planet in our solar system, Uranus, also has 13 rings, but they're super faint and very narrow and dark.
Wait a minute. I didn't know that Uranus had actual rings around it. I thought Saturn was the only planet that had rings around it. Okay, so if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. Uranus got a ring. So Uranus and Saturn got rings. They're like, fuck the rest of you guys. We got rings.
So they can hardly be seen. You thought we were going to make a joke about a butt, didn't you? Well, we're far too mature for that here at 101. Uranus. Number 77. A day on Uranus is shorter than a day on Earth, with one axis turn taking around 17 hours. A year on Uranus, though, is what the kids would call well long, equaling roughly 84 years on Earth.
Whoa. So if it goes around the Earth and takes 84 Earth years to go around the sun once for Uranus, then that means if 84 years go by, would my next birthday be in 84 years? Would I still be the same age? Imagine that. Imagine if it took 84 years to get your birthday. I know for all of us, we'll probably be like, okay, sign me up. So that means we could live a long time, right? So like if humans in theory could live up to, let's just say 70, and you multiply 70 times 84, right? Let me do that real quick. Hold on. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 8 is 56. 58. That means we would live for 5,880 years. That's how long we would live. Imagine that. Instead of like, because life is short. You know what I mean? Like, I get it, tomorrow's not promised and we could live up to 75 or 80 years. Or 90. For some of us, if we're lucky, 100. The Bible says 120 years is like the maximum that we could sustain life, that we could be alive for. And if you look at the way that life is outside of that, it kind of does make a logical sense, because many of the centenarians, like even the lucky ones that push 110, 115, they barely make it to 120. So I would say that probably sounds true to most degree. But if we lived on Uranus and it was 84 Earth years to go around the sun once, you know what that means? That means we would live 5,880 years. I don't know about you guys, but sign me up. I think my hand is up. Would anybody else like that? Would anybody else like that if you could live 5,880 years on Uranus? If it took that long to age you, you had 84 years to one birthday. And let's say you lived up to 70, that'll be 5,080. Now, let's just say you lived up to 100 years, right? So we'll do 100 times 84. Let's do that real quick. 40008. Okay. If you lived up to 100 years old on Uranus, that would be equivalent to 8,900 years. If you lived on Uranus for 100 years. 8,900. Now let's say you lived, according to the Bible, which is maximum life is 120. So let's do 120 times 84. 0. Hold on. 2 times 4 is 8. 1 times 4 is 4. 0. 0. 2 times 8 is 16. But the 1 times 8 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. It'd be 480 plus 9,600 is going to give you a grand total of 10,080 years. So if you lived up to 120, which is the maximum, according to the Bible, 120 years is the maximum that you can live up to. You multiply 120 times 84 years, you would max out at 13,080 years for life. No, 10,080 years on Uranus. Imagine that. Is anybody watching this right now like have your hand up like I would like to live for 10,000 years? Or 10,080 years. Does anybody agree or disagree? Would you not want to live that long? Would you not want to live up to 10,000? As to me, I'm game. I would like to do it. If they say, hey, Rose, you got to move to Uranus, but you get to live up to 10,000 plus 80 years. 10,080 years. to live on another planet. I'm like, bruh, sign me up. You guys agree or disagree? Or y'all like, nah, y'all don't want to live that long? Y'all don't want to live that long, man? Oh. Y'all don't want to live that long or nah? Y'all don't want to live that long? Yo, Brandon, what's up, man?
Yep, that's how long it takes for Uranus to orbit the Sun. Number 78. Uranus is often categorized as an ice giant, as most of its mass is made up of icy materials like water, methane, and ammonia. And the methane is what gives Uranus its blue color. The planet's atmosphere is mostly made of hydrogen and helium, like Jupiter and Saturn. Number 79. Uranus has the coldest atmosphere of any planet in the solar system, despite not being the furthest away from the Sun. This is because, unlike Neptune, Uranus doesn't have any internal heat within the surface of the planet. It also doesn't really have what qualifies as a true surface. This is because the planet is mostly just a ball of swirling fluids. Number 80. Much like Venus, Uranus rotates in a funny way too. It's not quite backwards, but it does spin on its side. It's believed that Uranus also had a collision, with a celestial object that caused it to spin off its axis to the point that it was on its side. Number 81. Because of this, Uranus basically orbits the Sun on its side, causing extreme weather that lasts for around 20 Earth years each. One of these extreme weather events that can occur on Uranus is diamond rain. When it falls, though, it sinks to the core of the planet, so no bling bling for us. Number 82. Uranus has 27 moons, and they're all named after characters from the works of William Shakespeare and Alexander Pope. The 5 main ones are Miranda, Ariel, Umbriel, Titania, and Oberon. Despite the amount of moons, the satellite system of Uranus is actually the smallest of any of the giant planets. Number 83. All of these inner moons appear to be made roughly of half water ice, and the other half rock. The outer moons of Uranus are a bit more of a mystery, but they're believed to be captured asteroids. Number 84. Neptune is the last and most distant planet in our solar system. Sharp about Pluto, we're getting there. Neptune was actually the first planet to be located through mathematical calculations, rather than a traditional telescopic discovery. Number 85. Neptune shares a lot of similarities with Uranus. As well as being absolutely freezing, because they're so far away from the Sun, Neptune similarly has a liquid surface made of water, ammonia, and methane that surrounds a solid Earth-sized centre. Number 86. Much like the other giant planets, Neptune also has rings, but they're extremely hard to see. There are at least 5 of them and another 4 ring arcs. It's thought that these arcs never became full rings because of the gravity of Neptune's moon, Galatea. Number 87. Neptune has 14 known moons. The biggest of these is Triton, named after the Roman god of the sea. The rest of Neptune's moons, when discovered, were then also named after lesser sea gods and nymphs from mythology. Number 88. A day on Neptune is about 16 hours. However, a year on Neptune is about the same as 165 years on Earth. In fact,
165 years on Earth. So that's actually more than Uranus. It was 84. 165 is for the Earth. Wow.
it wasn't until 2011 that Neptune had completed its first solar orbit, since we discovered it in 1846. Number 89. Honestly, Neptune hasn't been explored that much because it's so far away, so let's move on to the most controversial object in the solar system, Pluto.
Well, Pluto's last.
Pluto lives in the Kuiper Belt, which is a donut-shaped area that lies beyond Neptune and is home to millions of icy objects. Number 90. Pluto is a dwarf planet. It was given this new classification in 2006 after several similar-sized objects were found elsewhere, relegating it to a dwarf planet instead of a full-sized planet. There are at least 5 dwarf planets in our solar system, the aforementioned Ceres and Pluto, and the other 3 are called Haumea, Makemake, and Eris. Number 91. For those of you who are up in arms about the reclassification of Pluto, it's worth knowing that Pluto is about half the width of the United States. It's genuinely tiny. Number 92. According to NASA, Pluto has a lovely heart-shaped glacier that's roughly half the size of Texas and Oklahoma combined. Similarly to Earth, Pluto has blue skies, spinning moons, and enormous mountains. But one big difference is that the snow that falls on Pluto is red. Number 93.
That is fascinating. I didn't know that. Wow.
Pluto has an elliptical orbit, which means that it can sometimes be closer to the Sun than Neptune is. As well as this, Pluto's orbit is actually tilted quite significantly when compared to other planets. Number 94. Pluto, which is smaller than Earth's moon, has 5 moons of its own. One of these is called Charon, and it's so big it actually makes Pluto and its other 4 moons wobble unpredictably. This is because the centre of gravity isn't at the centre of Pluto like other planets, it's actually in the space between Pluto and Charon. Number 95. This means that the gravitational field changes, and so makes them all wobble, which also isn't helped by the fact that Pluto's other moons aren't spherical, they're more like American football shape. If you live on one of these celestial bodies, first of all, hello, but also you'd literally have no clue what time or what direction the sun would rise from because they wobble that much. Number 96.
Well, that sucks.
Arguably one of the most famous non-planetary objects in the solar system is Halley's Comet. The comet returns to the vicinity of Earth once every 75 years, with its next arrival predicted in 2061.
Ooh.
The comet orbits the sun elliptically, like Pluto, though far more dramatically.
Interesting. Y'all see that? That comet, how it orbits? That's interesting.
Number 97. Halley's Comet has been recorded since at least 1066, being documented on the Bio Tapestry. It's estimated that the comet has been on its current orbit anywhere between 16,000 to 200,000 years, but
Yeah.
scientists haven't yet been able to narrow that down. Number 98. That Kuiper belt we were talking about earlier is just the innermost part of a bigger donut called the scattered disk, which expands out of the furthest reaches of our solar system and houses potentially billions of asteroids, comets, teeny planets, and, well, general space stuff. Number 99. The biggest thing we've found in the scattered disk so far is Eris, another dwarf planet. Eris has another crazy orbit that, like Pluto, is elliptical in nature, but lasts an estimated 559 Earth years. Number 100. The most distant object in our solar system, at least as far as we can see, is the planetoid Sedna, found in the scattered disk. See, it's so far away that this is the best picture we could get from our distant puny planet. It's around 76 times further away from the Sun than Earth is at its closest point in orbit. Number 101. It's thought, though, that there could be an even further part of the solar system that we haven't properly discovered so far. This theoretical space is called the Oort cloud. And to put into context just how far away it could be, if Earth was just a centimetre away from the Sun, by comparison, the Oort cloud would be 500 metres away. That's more than 500,000 times the distance. So, whilst we may think we know loads about our solar system, it's clear that there's still loads left to discover.
Wow, so we haven't even discovered everything in our solar system. This was a fascinating video. I really liked it. It taught me some things about the solar system that I didn't know. Like I said, if the Earth becomes uninhabitable. So, for the 3 people watching before I get out of here, I want to ask you a question. What's your favorite planet? If we had to move from the Earth and you could move to another planet, what would you pick? If you could pick what planet you wanted to move to, where would you go? To me personally, after watching this video, I mean, Neptune has water on it. Mars has water on it. Titan, the moon seems like it can sustain life. Like, to me personally, I probably may even consider moving to Titan if I could. Because I'm wondering if all these planets that are real far away, if we're going to be able to sustain ourselves with enough sunlight and stuff like that. To me, I'm thinking the most realistic one is probably going to be Mars. To me, Mars would seem like the most reasonable planet to move to. They've had water on there. They've saw like bases on it, which suggests maybe there's Martians on there, perhaps. And the travel distance from Earth to Mars is 4 months, right? So 4 months. Let me confirm that. 1 second. Distance, hold on, distance, give me a second, from Earth to Mars. Okay, it says that we are 149.05 million miles. Okay, so that would be, how many years would it take to reach Mars? Okay. It says on here, I thought it was 4 months. I'm wrong. It's longer. It's saying that it would take 34 months. 500. No, it says no. It says the lowest energy transfer to Mars is the Hallman transfer orbit, which would involve a roughly 9-month travel time from Earth to Mars, about 500 days. At 16 months at Mars to wait for a transfer window to Earth. And a travel time of about 9 months to return to Earth. This would be a 34-month trip. So 9 and 9 is 18. Then you got to, of course, you got to be there for a while to collect data, whatever, right? And if you're going to stay, 18 and 18 is 36. So you're only going to stay 16 months. So a year. So you're going to travel longer to get there than your actual stay. So that means 34 months minimum. If you do, double it up, then that's 36 months. Problem is you'd have to find some fucking volunteers that would be like, okay, I got 3 years to kill. They would have to be compensated heavily. You'd probably have to pay these guys an extreme sum of money. They're ultimately risking their lives. Not to mention if they need, let's say, medical ship breaks down. They would have to have a bunch of equipment to be able to sustain that. But definitely. Now, let's say from Earth to, let's just say, the moon. I think it's 4 days. Okay. The moon is 238,900 miles away. The distance from the Earth to the moon. And how long would it take? 3 days. And it also says it depends on how fast you're traveling. So 3 days. Wow. That's crazy, isn't it? So 3 days to get to the moon. This, to me, is a reasonable trip. We could get man on the moon easily. And why we haven't done that, I don't know. It still remains a mystery. If it only takes 3 days, you're talking about 6 days travel. You could stay at the moon for a week. 2 weeks. You would be able to find some volunteers for that project. Absolute shit. Sign me up. Shit, I'd go. Now, let me ask you guys a question. We got 2 people watching. I want you to type in real quick, yes or no. If they paid you $1 million, $1 million to go to the moon and collect data, and it's, let's just say, a 3-week trip, would you do it? For $1 million? $1 million. Tax-free. $1 million. And you're only gone for 3 weeks. Tops. I mean, I know with inflation and stuff, it's not exactly a lot of money. But $1 million, that's $1 million, right? That's enough to get you started. I'm not saying you won't still have to find a job and work. You'd have to do that still, but I'll tell you this. If they said, Rose, we'll give you $1 million. 3 weeks. Fuck it, what I got to lose? Give me a beneficiary. If I die, the base ship explodes, my people's covered, I'm good. And you sign and you bring me with a team of people, like at least 12, like you're going to have at least about 12 people. But if you need more, like a whole team of people, shit. I just want to know how they're going to get the oxygen, like in these ships that could sustain it. And I tell you right now, put me in a ship like this, and I'll say yes. Watch this. Watch this. Hold on. Tell me for the 2 viewers watching this, for the 3 viewers watching this, tell me right now, if they said, hey, you go to the moon for 3 weeks, you leave in a spaceship like this is your room, this your whole room right now. You got a fan, these are your windows, this is your bed, you got a TV, a microwave, all that good stuff. You get unlimited food, access to the internet, this, and this. They give you $1 million and you trip to the moon. Tell me you wouldn't do this, bro. I would, man, shit, sign me up, bro. 2 viewers watching this. Would you do it? $1 million? You travel with a team of people, you get your astronaut suit, you get all that stuff. And Trump says we're looking for volunteers for the moon expedition. Shit, you ain't gotta tell me twice. Motherfucker, I'm signing up quick. You can bet your ass I'm going on that trip to the moon. If they say, Mr. Rose, we will compensate you for that, 1 million, 3 weeks, where's the dotted line at? I'll sign that motherfucker in blood. I'm just saying, $1 million is $1 million. You ain't got to tell me twice about that trip to the damn moon. And the moon is made out of rock. It's not like it's made out of gas or anything like that. So it's more of a reasonable trip. I would say between that and probably Mars. To me, is more of a reasonable trip. But I don't know. Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? I mean, talk to me in the comments real quick. Do you agree or disagree? Do you think that this is a reasonable trip to the moon? Come on now, don't be shy. Just let me know in the comments. Would you go? Just say yes or no. Just say, nah, I'm not going to risk my life. Or if you say, yeah, then you could be like, all right, cool. And you'd be like, all right, I'll go. I'll do it for $1 million. And then if I die, then give $1 million to my people. You know what I mean? Like, let them have it. That's how I would do it. Greedy moon bastards. I know, facts. You're right, Haley, facts. Greedy moon bastards. That Saturn and Jupiter just hogging up all the moons and shit. Neptune got 14. It's like, come on, man. Y'all could at least give us 1. Or like 4 moons or something. Y'all got too many damn moons. Y'all don't need all those moons. Just give us like at least, man, bro, if you give us 2 moons, at least 1, and we had 2, bro, that would be dope. But I wonder, how would the weather be like if, let's say, there were 2 moons here? Like, would that disrupt our way of life? That's a good question. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's only over an hour. I'm not staying up all night. Just wanted y'all to see it. I hope you guys enjoyed this little short video. The distance between the Earth to the moon, like I said, I put it on there. Let me see. Let's say the Earth to the Sun. Fuck it. Let's see what the distance on that is. Wow, 94 million miles. 19 years to reach the sun. Yeah, we'll never be able to get there, bro. 19 years. Now, let's say Earth to Neptune, because I like Neptune. Let's see. In years. Right. 165 Earth years. I think 18 years. 18 years to get there. Okay. That ain't bad. That's a long ass trip, bro. I don't think anybody's got 36 years of their life to spare. Plus, you got to stay there for a long time. Yeah, that'd be a lifetime right there to commit to that. I don't think anybody wants to do that. Unless they go when they're like 0 years old. Then they'll be 36. And then you add the 10 years to stay there, they'll get back maybe by the time they're 50. Better put 50 billion gazillion dollars in my bank account. By the time I get back, I'll never have to work another day in my life. I'll say we good. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and go to bed now because it's 1:18 in the morning. I appreciate y'all for following me. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe. Do the shit that YouTube tells us to do. Quoting the famous Prodigal Hill. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.